All right, let's dive into a classic economic puzzle, the kind you'd see in a microeconomics course. We're going to explore how a really simple change in one market can create these surprising ripples in a completely different one. And we're going to use two drinks we all know and love, tea and coffee.
So, how on earth can your cup of tea shake up the whole coffee market? I know, it sounds a little weird, but the answer really gets to the heart of just how connected our economy is. Stick with me, and you'll see exactly how your choice is part of a much, much bigger picture.
Okay, first things first. Before we can start shaking things up, we need to get a clear picture of how things are at the beginning. We need to establish that initial balance, what economists call equilibrium, for both the tea market and the coffee market.
So, right off the bat, we've got a huge difference between our two products. Tea, in our example, is produced right here at home. That means its price is flexible. It's set by local supply and demand. But coffee? That's a different story. It's imported, so it comes in at a fixed price set by the world market. And that little detail, well, it's absolutely crucial for everything that's about to happen.
Here's a look at our Thai market. This is textbook stuff, right? The supply curve goes up because, the higher the price, the more people want to sell. The demand curve goes down. The cheaper it is, the more we want to buy. And right where they cross, at point A, that's our stable starting point. Now let's check out the coffee market. See that supply curve? It's a completely flat horizontal line. Why? Because coffee is imported at that fixed global price. Suppliers are basically willing to sell as much or as little as people want, but only at that one price. The demand curve looks normal, sloping down, and they meet at our starting point, also point A.
All right, so both our markets are just humming along, perfectly balanced, but that's not going to last. We're about to introduce a shock to the system. Something's going to happen in the tea market that will set off a whole chain reaction. And here it is. This is the catalyst for everything. Let's just imagine that all of a sudden, it gets way cheaper to grow and process tea. Maybe there's a new technology or something. This is a huge change, but it's happening on the supply side of the tea market. So what happens? Well, it's pretty logical. First, since it's cheaper to make, producers are now happy to sell more tea at any price you can think of. Because of that, the entire supply curve shifts over to the right. And that moves the market from its old balance at point A to a brand new one, over at point B. And what does this all mean? Well, at our new spot, point B, the price of tea has dropped, and the total amount of tea being bought and sold has actually gone up. So this is fantastic news for tea drinkers. Cheaper tea and more of it. But here's where things get really interesting. A price change for tea doesn't just stay in the tea market. Because tea and coffee are what we call substitutes, the effect is about to spill over and create some serious waves in the coffee market. Just think about it for a second. You walk into a store. The price of tea is way down, but coffee costs exactly the same as it always has. What are you going to do? How does that change your decision?
Yup, exactly. Some people, maybe a lot of people, who are going to buy coffee are now going to grab that cheaper tea instead. This is the substitute effect live in action. And because of this, the total demand for coffee goes down. We show that by shifting the whole demand curve for coffee over to the left. Now, this is the key. This is the most important part. Even though fewer people want to buy coffee now, the price does not change. Remember that flat horizontal supply curve? The price is locked in by the global market. It just doesn't care about what local demand is doing. So if the price isn't changing, what is? The quantity. With this lower demand hitting that same fixed price, the new equilibrium point slides from A over to B. The result is crystal clear. The price of coffee is the same, but a lot less of it is being sold. Okay, the dust has settled. The ripples have stopped. Let's step back and take a look at the before and after shot of our two markets now that this whole chain reaction has played out. This table just lays it out perfectly. For tea, the price went down and the quantity sold went up. Simple enough. But for coffee, the price stayed exactly the same while the quantity sold went down. And all of this started because it got a little bit cheaper to make tea. So we just followed that whole chain of events from beginning to end. What are the big ideas, the main takeaways we should really walk away with from all this?
Well, we really saw 4 key principles in action. First, and maybe most importantly, markets for substitute goods are totally linked. You can't touch one without affecting the other. Second, when it gets cheaper to produce something, supply goes up, which pushes prices down. Third, we saw that imported goods with a fixed world price have that really unique, perfectly flat supply curve. And finally, that means for those goods, a change in local demand messes with how much is sold, but it doesn't touch the price tag.
And all that leaves us with one final thought. We just uncovered this hidden connection between tea and coffee. It really makes you wonder, what other economic ripples are happening all around us every single day? Maybe the price of steel and how it affects the car you buy, or the cost of corn and what it does to your cereal? The connections you'll find are absolutely everywhere.